Hi, Mark the Monarch Man, and welcome to another edition of Live with Fussy. Today, a transformation you won't believe. We're helping out a couple that have purchased a property years ago. What look do they want? When they drive around at the moment, they're looking at townhouses with that sensational black brick everyone's using with white mortar. It looks trendy and striking. I said to them, don't panic. I can show you how to make your old house look brand new, and we'll get that look you're after. There's a couple of steps involved and I'm going to take you through them. They're simple, they're easy if you follow what I'm about to show. So we start off with our brown brick, and by the way, before we even start painting, we pressure blasted the wall to get rid of any grit, any dirt, and you do that a day or two before so your bricks are nice and dry. Once you've done that, no dust, we're good to paint. Now, what do we do first? First step here is we want a roller. Now when you roll bricks, you generally want what's called a rough and textured surface roller. It's designed to get the bricks and also in between the mortar. But I'll point out a critical stage here with this particular brick. Even though we've got the lovely long nap thick roller, this, I've got to say, is one of the deepest mortars I've ever encountered. Back in the 70s, every now and again, they raked out the mortar to make it really deep. It doesn't cause a problem, it just gives us an extra step in getting the job done. So, first thing we're going to do, we'll get out our roller tray. We've had paint in it, we've got alfoil over it so nothing dries out, usual fussy stuff. Take our foil off, and we get our roller. Now one of the benefits of this is the people that own this place are really busy. They both work and they do about 6 days a week, so they don't get a lot of time to do a whole wall in one day. They do an hour here and an hour there. So I taught them, get your long nap roller and just keep it moist with paint. Keep wrapping in alfoil, and they've been using this for a month with my help. We haven't washed this out once. Fantastic little tip. So what we do first, load up that long nap roller. It holds a heck of a lot of paint. We're going to show you how to roll the brick, and I want you to note how it doesn't get into the mortar. So we roll it on. Now it's a very porous surface, so you're going to have to keep reloading your roller. Don't let that worry you. That's all good. We'll keep doing that. All we're doing here is getting the paint on to cover the brickwork for now. Now if you want to, you can turn your roller sideways and it'll help you get in. You can push and you can prod, but it still won't get into every little bit of mortar. So my tip is, put the roller down and I'll show you another step that helped this come up fantastic. Get rid of our roller. Now what we want is a paintbrush. And for this, I want to point out something. For people who know me, I love synthetic brushes. I use them for everything except this. Two brushes here. The first one is called an exterior and rough surface brush. That's a little beauty and will help a lot. This one is what we call pure bristle. Now these, I call them old school paint brushes, but for this job, right on the money. Why? Because they're so tough. They hold a lot of paint. You can bash them up against bricks and they won't fall apart. So we'll get our brush out now. And again, you want to load a lot of paint on your brush. This is not about a perfect smooth finish. This is about getting the stuff on. And it's a swish pattern. So what I mean by swish pattern is I'm swishing the brush back and forward and just making sure I get in all that mortar joins, which makes the mortar disappear and we get that perfect white base that we need for our top coat. Again, load your brush. Just take your time. And you can see clearly what's happening with every brush load. I'm getting all that mortar beautifully covered. Let the brush do the work. And like I said, these pure bristle fellas, for this particular job, they'll lap it up and they'll make you a champion. You'll get all that work done in no time. Just do a little bit more. So like I said, the benefit of this is, if this couple are busy and they go, we just want to do an hour's work today, so all they need to do, get their brush out, it's wrapped up in foil, put a bit of paint in a pot, do as much as you like. When you've had enough, take a break. They're not in a hurry to get it finished, they're just enjoying the transformation with a bit of Monarch magic. Okay, we're starting to get that looking perfect as a base coat. Like I said, there's no stress, it's not a rush. Just a brush load every time. Swish it sideways and it'll do the job for you, no problem whatsoever there. And I'm sort of brushing it back over the brick purely to get rid of any drips or anything like that. So I'll load up a brush again. Now we've got some questions coming through. What do we got here? Okay, what paint am I using? Good question. What I'm trying to do here is, I want to not only make this look good, but I want it to be durable and long lasting. So I'm going with a product called Taubman's All Weather. Water-based product, low sheen finish, which is great for doing brickwork. You don't want it shiny. It's a water-based product that is long lasting. A couple of coats of Taubman's All Weather over this, and if you note, we didn't need a primer or an undercoat. It's self-priming. So 2 coats of the white would be sufficient. And the reason I want to do 2 coats is I want to make sure that I get that mortar in between the brick, nice and white, so the black on the brick faces really stands out. We'll keep doing a little bit more of this. Just going on beautiful. The pure bristle brush for this, it's made for it. Super deep mortar. Like I said, normally that rough and textured roller, they're actually designed to do bricks and in between. But on this particular 70s deep mortar brick, you're going to have to use your brush. No drama with that. That's just putting it in beautiful. Like I said, it's that swish, swish back and forward motion. Super easy, no drama whatsoever. A little more. Just working your brush. You're not trying to spread the paint too far. You want to get all that mortar covered beautifully, and that's giving you that perfect base coat. Okay, couple more bricks. Wow, it just flows in there, and bricks are really thirsty, and yet this is making light work of it. Perfect. This is a 63 mil. You could use a larger or smaller, but I reckon 63 is perfect. Another question coming through. Oh, okay, now here's an interesting question. Could I use a spray gun? When I look at this scenario, there's a yes and a no for the spray gun. Let me explain. The couple that owned this house, when they first asked me, can we use a spray gun, they went and bought a $100 spray gun. They started using it and they got really frustrated. Why? Firstly, it only has a little pot on it, so they found that they were refilling the pot so often it was frustrating. Secondly, the female thought as she was spraying that it was getting really heavy, because spray guns are heavier than a paintbrush. I said to them, look, if you want ease, use a paintbrush, but what you have to understand is it's going to take longer. So you've got to assess what you want to do. If you've got a whole weekend and you've got time to mask areas up where you don't want to get paint from the spray gun, and you're going to spend a whole day to 2 days spraying, yep, a spray gun is the way to go for this base coat. But if you just want to do what this lovely couple do and go, I'm going to do an hour here, I'm going to do an hour there, and all I need to do when I've had enough is grab my brush, wrap it in some foil, same with my roller, it's convenient for them. So ask yourself the question, what are you trying to do? Is it a quick job, or are you just going to be happy to take your time and have the benefit of not having to remember, if you finish with your spray gun, you've got to wash it out properly, because if you don't, the nozzle will clog up, and the next time you go to use it, you're going to have some hassles. It's all depending upon what you want to get out of it. What you do need to do though is a couple of coats. So whether you spray or you use your brush and roller, get a couple of coats on to make sure that that mortar line is beautiful and white. Absolutely. Just a couple more. Okay. Sometimes you just have a look and see, gee, did I miss any spots? And you just go back over it. Such an easy job this, and brickwork is so simple to paint. Okay, how's that all looking? I reckon that's pretty cool. Okay, question I've just come through, and that's actually a
While you're on it, on
Yep.
Facebook, we've got a question from Scott.
Scott?
He's asking, what kind of brush are you using?
Okay, when I did the brushwork in between the mortar, there are two choices for you to use, both which are really hardy, rough brushes that hold a lot of paint and don't fall apart. When you paint bricks, you don't want to use a soft brush because it will fall apart. So we've got a special brush from Monarch called an exterior rough surface brush, or the one I'm actually using today, which I don't use for a lot, is called Pure Bristle. It's an old school paintbrush, but what it does do is pick up and release a lot of paint, and on a rough surface like brick, it won't fall apart. So, make sure you have those and you'll be fine, and remember, keep wrapping them up. Now, the critical part which makes this absolutely a magic renovation is the top coat. Again, we're using our low sheen all weather from Taubman's, that water-based finish, but we've got it in a black. It's actually called Taubman's Mojo, M-O-J-O. It's a charcoal black. So, again, what do we want? We want convenience. So the reason I love these Smart Lock rollers is not only do they give me a great finish, but they have a little storage canister. So we don't even need our plastic bag or our cling wrap or our alfoil. We simply store our roller in this little canister. And again, we've been using this on and off for a month. Now the benefit of the Smart Lock, they should be called no mess because you don't touch the roller. They have a little spring-loaded handle that bobs up and down, and it clicks on and it clicks off, and you don't touch nothing. No mess, Smart Lock from Monarch, unbelievable. So, we'll click this back on. The key now, 4mm, super thin. You can see how thin that roller is. Now this is, by the way, what's called a 160 mini roller. For those people who go, I would like even smaller, comes in a little 100mm, but you can see the difference in the width, but they're both 4mm microfiber. So now, we load up our roller. And being 4mm microfiber, they're actually designed for doing doors and cupboards where you want that super smooth finish because they don't hold much paint. When we do our brickwork, the reason I'm going with the thin roller, I don't want to get paint in between the bricks. So when I roll with this, this is where the magic happens, folks. You roll slowly, you press softly, let the roller do the work. So every time you load it up, don't overload it, don't put too much paint on, and roll slowly. And what you're going to find here is, this is just magic. You take your time. Now remember, we'll be doing 2 coats of this. So we're not expecting to get absolutely perfect coverage straight away. But what you can see is what the transformation that's taken place here, and it's turning this old 70s look brick into that really modern, trendy look. Now, why would you do this? Let me tell you. For one, what this is not only going to do is going to bring your house into modern times, but it's going to increase the value of this home by tens of thousands of dollars. They've already had real estate agents knocking on their front doors and saying, do you want to sell? We love what you've done to that house. We cannot believe the transformation. So not only have they achieved the finish they want, they've increased the value of the house, which is a good thing. I'd want that, and I'm sure you do as well. So again, the bricks, just take your time. You're not trying to get perfect coverage here. 4mm doesn't get in between the mortar, just don't rush it. Every time you reload, you're fine. 4mm, what a finish that gives me. And a little tip, where you get those bits that you've missed, you just use the end of the roller to tidy up some edges if you like. Again, pressing soft, nothing hard about any of this, but it's slow, don't rush this. Okay, another question. How is it that you're not getting any black paint in between the bricks? Okay, to reinforce, I went with what's called the Monarch Smart Lock Mini Roller, but crucially, I went microfiber in a 4mm nap, designed for doors and cupboards. Why? Because it's such a thin nap roller, it doesn't hold much paint. What happens then is, when I load my roller and I go over my brickwork, it just touches the face of the bricks. Not going in between, because as I roll over, it's not thick enough to get in between, which is exactly what we want. So easy, but it is absolutely striking the way it's changing the look of this exterior. And this facade now looks like was built last week. Unbelievable. We'll keep doing a bit more. And remember, the crucial thing again, we don't need to finish. If you've got an appointment or you've only got an hour, again, this is where using the little mini rollers are convenient. If I've had enough, load a bit of paint on your roller so it's moist. Open up that fantastic canister, the No Mess Smart Lock Mini Roller, press, handle comes off, shut the lid. Now that's going to do like the alfoil is going to do. You can store that for about 2 weeks, won't dry out. We've been using this for at least a month, haven't washed it out once. That is what you call convenience, and the click on, click off handle, ideal. Okay, we'll keep doing a bit more. We got any, another question. You use a mini roller for the black, could I use a standard size roller? Okay, you could go and get yourself a 230 width, which is basically the width, if you like, of our heavy, thick, long nap that we use to do the white. However, the wider the roller, it's harder to go across the faces of the bricks because they're not all perfectly smooth and even. You're better off with a mini roller because it gives you more control, and it's going to make it easier to get paint only on the surfaces that you want, rather than having a roller that's as wide as 4 bricks, but the bricks aren't perfectly even. Use a mini, it's much simpler. Again, all I'm trying to do now is get in between some of the little nook and crannies that I missed. Remember, you're going to do 2 coats on this, folks. So it doesn't need to be perfect for your first coat. So what I'm doing now is I'm dabbing the corners of the roller into the little white bits, just to make sure I get as good a coverage as I can for my first coat. It's going to get another, but the better I make the first coat look, the easier the second coat will be. And the second coat, remember, will not only make the colour look more accurate, but it's going to make it last longer. How do I know this will work on my bricks? Now here's the critical question, so I'm glad somebody has asked. Clearly, the first thing you need to do is a test pattern. So what you do is, you get yourself one of these mini rollers, you go to your bricks at your home, and you simply just paint across the face of the brick like I'm doing here, and watch what happens. If the roller gets in between the mortar, because remember a lot of bricks today are almost, flat, the mortar and the brick, there's not a lot of difference. So if when you roll across the face of the brick, you're getting paint in the mortar, this is not the finish you want. Paint it all one colour, and yes, now you can use your standard thick long nap roller, because you will paint the brick and the mortar, that's fine. But for this particular finish that this couple wanted to create, I had to come up with an ingenious way, and with a little bit of Monarch magic, these mini rollers are doing the trick perfectly. Just love it. And it is easy. No trouble with this. It just takes a little bit of time. But you stand back, you look at that result, and you go, my, I cannot believe that. A little bit more. Again, doesn't hold a lot of paint. Don't worry about that. That's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Hi, Foss, we've got some good comments from Mike's painting. He's saying looks impressive. We've got iPop Collections who's saying what a change. We've got Runways Painting Services who's saying cool. We've got Salt Painter who's saying looks amazing.
Well, to me, I had to think about how to get this finished, because like I said, the thing that really hit home for me was when the real estate agent come around and said, what have you done to this house? Not only have you added value, and how did you get that finish? So all I thought was, let's have a live with Fussy. You know, it's not for every brick wall, but if you want to transform the old look to today's look, what a transformation indeed. Okay, just do a little bit more for you. Again, just reload. Take your time. My. Coming to life already. Wow. And I can see a little bit through some of the colour, because we're doing black over white. You're not going to get one coat with that. But you know what? The second colour is going to be even more striking. It's going to fill in the little bits of white that maybe you can still see. And you're going to sit back and go, I love it.
We've got a question from Chris Rad asking, is that matte finish?
Okay, so nowadays you can buy what's called matte finish, and Taubman's All Weather comes in that. Most exterior quality products will have a gloss, a semi-gloss, a low sheen and a matte. So yes, if you want no sheen level at all, you can use matte. What I like to do and always have is when I paint exterior surfaces, I use a low sheen on brickwork, because it's only got a slight sheen, but it's tougher than the matte, so it's going to last longer, and if I ever need to wash it or pressure blast it, it should be okay. So I'd be talking about low sheen, but if you want matte, no problem at all, you can use it. Wow, looks striking.
We've got a comment from Color.Impressions. I've just done my whole house like this. It took some ling hours, but so worth it.
And now here's the funny thing, and you can curse a little bit about, yeah, it will take longer. We had the old discussion about the spray gun, okay? But let's remember one thing. If you do it by brush and roller, you control how much you get done in a day and how the paint goes where you want it. If it's a windy day in particular and you're trying to use your gun, it's going to spray areas that you don't want. Sure, it'll be quicker, but you need to know what you're doing. You need to have a quality spray gun, not one with a little pot that you're filling up every 10 minutes. So yeah, time consuming, but when I sit back and look at that, the satisfaction and the transformation is out of this world. Just finish down the side here just to make it look square. My. Oh, I can't wait for it to dry so I can get my second coat done. Make it look outstanding, and imagine when the whole wall's done. Can't do the bottom yet, I've got to let that dry. So that's a job for another time. So if I've finished, let's go through it. What are we going to do? I'm going to load some paint on my beautiful Smart Lock No Mess roller. I'm going to pop it in the storage canister. I'm going to press down, no paint all over me. Shut my little lid, and that can sit happily in my garage somewhere cool until I'm ready to do the next coat. Same with the brush. I haven't used a brush today, but where you'd need to use your brush is right up top where the top of the bricks meet the eaves. You'd want to use a brush for that, or along the bottom so that you don't hit the ground and get dirt in your roller. That's when you use your brush, but the same thing applies. You load a bit of paint on your brush. You stick it inside the alfoil because it's not only seals it, but it insulates it. Those two products can sit there. I can go about my business and do what I need to do. And when I've got another spare hour or two, I can come back and get this fantastic transformation easy. Okay, just checking if we've got any other questions. I think we're just about done. Oh, okay. I want to say thanks to everyone that's joined us on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. And what we've done here is a magic transformation thanks to a bit of magic from Monarch. Cheers. Give this a go. You won't regret it. Hoo, 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 hoo.